Hey guys, so I'm back with a kind of different video. I'm going to be making some mixed media backgrounds kind of things. It's not really mixed media because I'm just using stamps at the time being, but I kind of wanted to play with some mixed media things, and I just turned the camera on, and I'm going to show you what I came up with. And I decided that I'm going to make a series every Friday. So if you watch my July Scrapathon intro, you probably know what I'm talking about, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you anyway. I'm gonna make a series, every Friday we'll have a kind of mixed media thing. So today I'm gonna make 2 backgrounds, and then the next 3 Fridays I'm going to create layouts using these backgrounds. So you're probably wondering how I'm gonna make 3 layouts with 2 backgrounds, but the one is more of a pattern paper kind of thing that I am going to use twice. So anyway, I'm going to tell you what I'm doing here. So I have these 2 Cocoa Daisy stamps that someone sent to me about a year ago, maybe a little bit more. And I haven't used them in a long time, so I thought it was about time I used them, since now I have some actual ink pads that work for stamping, like this Black Ranger one it's a black tie is the color, and I also have some Distress Oxides which are perfect for stamping. So because I don't have an acrylic block, and because the stamp is quite small, I'm using my ruler to attach the stamp on and stamp on my page. And I'm kind of making a circular thing with these stamps. So I started off with some black ones, and now I'm adding in some green ones. This is the Twisted Citron color from the Distress Oxides. And to clean the stamps, I know this is probably not a good way to clean them. I'm just adding some water and using a napkin to get the paint off. I have no idea how to clean stamps properly. So anyway, then I'm using this purple Distress Oxide. This is called Wilted Violet. And I'm going to add that on various different places to help formulate my kind of wonky circle. So I'm going to spread the colors out, and then I'm going to come back in and add more. So I have black, purple, and green going on now. And I don't even know how I came up with this idea. Sometimes I'm not in the mood to scrapbook. I just want to kind of play with paint. So what I do is make backgrounds that I can use later on. And I usually don't use those backgrounds later on, which is why I came up with this idea to do this series, so I can force myself to use them immediately and they don't get stored in my ready-made backgrounds that never get used area of my scrap room. So I have these ink pads. These are from Tiger, and I don't really like them, but they provided some other colors, but I want to try them out first before I put them on my layout. So the blue one is kind of dried out and it doesn't really work, but the pink one is okay, so I'm going to use that because I felt like I needed another color other than the ones that I have going on. So I'm gonna add a couple of pink labels on my page, and I think I only fast forwarded this twice because if I did it 4 times or 6 times, it would have been like a 5-minute video, and also this allows me to explain things a lot better. So I thought I'll just leave it at this, and it will be a 10-minute video because I did make 2 backgrounds, but there's also some failed attempts at making a couple of other ones. So now I felt like I needed a bit more black, so I am going to stamp some black. So I'm not re-inking the stamp every time I stamp something because I kind of like the faded look. So when I came back in the second time with the same colors, I tried to stamp the faded ones near the not faded ones. I don't know if that makes sense. So like if I had a black one that was really black somewhere, I would stamp another black one close to it that was kind of faded, or well, not exactly next to it, but if it was kind of in the same area, I would try to not have the same amount of I guess pigment. I don't know if that made any sense whatsoever, but anyway. So now I'm going back to all my ink pads and just adding to places where I feel needs a bit more color. So these are just a base. I have no clue what I'm gonna do with them yet, which is why I'm keeping them pretty simple. So I just got this stamp on here for the time being. I didn't like add any packaging technique or anything like that. I'm not sure if I'm going to, even when I make the page, because I think maybe I should have done that first, because the distress oxides react to water, and if I were to add water onto this background, I think the stamped images that I use distress oxides, so the purple and the green ones, will kind of run and the image will get lost. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that. We will see. And then here I have this really cool stencil set that I got for Christmas that I still haven't used, so I thought I would kind of experiment with it, but it's not really going to work out. So this is from Tiger, and I'm going to try to figure out how it works. There's no instructions or anything in it, so I'm going to kind of play around on some scrap piece of paper with this. So you get 3 kind of gel pens, and then you get some stencil kind of things, and then these little inserts that you put in the stencils, and you kind of place your pen and turn them, and you get a cool pattern. But I don't think it's suitable for backgrounds. I mean, if I had a circle punch, I could make these in a smaller version and punch them out. I think that will look cool. So maybe I need to finally invest in one of those. So see what's happening here? I'm just putting a pen in and spinning around, and you get this cool effect depending on how you spin it. And yeah. But I'm not sure which sized ones are supposed to go in which, like, if you put a small one in this gigantic one, it doesn't really work. I don't know. I gotta play around with them a bit more. So I was trying to figure out how they worked, and I really liked how they looked there, but it's kind of difficult to use them on a background. So I'm going to attempt to use them on a background, but then that's when I discover it's really difficult to use them on a background. So I don't know, I'm going to keep those for another time, but I'm going to play with them quite a bit more here, because I do like how they look while I'm still using them on the scrap piece. So when I add them to my background, like my 12 by 12 piece of cardstock, it's a bit weird. So actually, I think when I have time, or when I convince my parents to bring me to a place where you can buy punches, I will invest in a circle punch, because I've been looking for one for, like, I'm scrapbooking lately, and I've been thinking, oh, if I had a circle punch, I could do this and this and this, but I don't. So maybe it's time I got one. So here's where I pulled out a gel pen that was not included in the kit. Maybe that was partially the problem. And this circle here did not work out like I hoped it would. So I'm going to stop before I destroy a whole piece of white cardstock. So that's where I decided that's not working, and I'm going to flip it over and use it for something else. So I'm going to get my stamps again. So I also have this tag, which I've used before, and I love the layout that I used it on. So I thought maybe I could do something similar, but I don't know, I wasn't really feeling it. So I'm going to stick that back, and I'm going to go get my floral stamp, which I've also used in a layout in the past. But I thought I could, like, kind of make a background with just this stamp, and then use it as a pattern paper on a layout. So that's what I'm going to do. The problem is, though, that I think I put too much water on it, and the sticky kind of isn't working anymore. And also because my ruler is much thinner than the stamp, that is going to cause a problem. So I'm going to abandon the ruler and just use my hands for this one. So I'm going to ink it with my Black Ranger ink, but of course I made a mistake and applied the ink while it was still on my background. But anyway, so I'm just adding ink, and then I'm going to stamp it 2 or 3 times in a row before I have to re-ink it. So this is probably not the best way to do it with my hands like that, because I don't get a very clear image, and also when I lift it up, it might smear stuff. So it's not the most effective way, but until I figure out where I can purchase an acrylic block from where I live, then I will invest in one. And also, it wasn't such a problem up until now because I don't really use stamps, but I think I really enjoy using them lately, so maybe I will have to buy an acrylic block from somewhere. So anyway, so I'm just gonna repeat this process over and over again, just inking the stamp and stamping it a couple of times until I fill up this whole background with stamp. And I have a couple of ideas of how to use this, which you will see in the upcoming weeks. So I'm going to use this paper twice in 2 different ways, even though I can think of a lot more ways to do it than what I have. So that is going to complete this process once I have everything stamped here. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check back in next Friday to see what I come up with these 2 backgrounds. See you next time.